Welcome to Worthington Home. I'm Chris. It is time to decorate for Christmas and I am so ready for it. And this year I'm doing things a little bit differently. Usually I have seen something on Pinterest or I've taken screenshots off Facebook or Instagram. I've looked at a magazine spread. Something has inspired me to decorate my house. And this year I'm putting all of that away because I'm just gonna use what I have and I'm gonna try to create some decor that looks different from what I've done in the past. I'm gonna let it just kind of evolve organically and see what I can come up with. And I hope you'll come along for the ride. I think it's time to get started. Let's hit the attic. Here we are in the attic, and inside this cedar closet is all of my holiday decor. Looking at it like this is rather daunting. Fortunately, Zach's bringing it downstairs. So here you can see the Christmas tree that's going to go in the library this year. Sometimes it goes in the dining room, but this time we're going to start in the library. The animals are all very excited to see what this looks like. Zach's going to put it together for me. This child clearly needs to wake up a little bit more before taking on this task, but the time is now, so we're making it work. He's getting a kick out of all of his furry friends. They love any kind of new change around the house. This poor tree needs a lot of fluffing. Last year I thrifted this big grouping of berries. Actually, I think I even got them for free because I bought lots of other things and I think the estate sale manager just threw them in. So what I've been doing is I've been putting them around my little kitchen Christmas tree as if they were garland, and that's giving me a really pretty effect. The only problem is I'm getting a lot of interest from kitties. So I need to make sure, I don't like this red thing sticking out. I have to do something about that. I want to make sure that they don't get chewed because that would be bad. So I'm going to keep playing with this, but so far I really like the way it's looking. Meanwhile, back in the library, Eric is putting the tree skirt around the tree. Everybody's working hard to make sure I don't overdo it and throw out my back again, and I'm pretty grateful about that. Now he's just putting the star on top of the tree. The star is always one of my favorite parts. I thought I would show you what's going on here. Indy has climbed into the tree and he thinks he's a jungle cat right now. And this is cracking me up because I find every year Indy does this one time. He jumps into the tree while it's being put up and while we're just getting started. Once all of the ornaments and everything fragile is on the tree, he doesn't do anything, and Iris doesn't climb it at all. So I'm gonna let him have his fun and get it out of his system. I think the tree looks great with all of the lights on it. This isn't a pre-lit tree. The lights aren't included. We actually add them each year, which is an extra step, but I think it worked out really well. Now I'm gonna add these like wooden berries and the bows. I've used real cranberries before and they make a mess. So the wooden ones give the same idea without staining everything. I'm just trying to decide how I want to arrange these, if I'm going to swag them or just kind of encircle the tree with them. I'll have to see what I like best. I decided that I liked them better kind of encircling the tree instead of swagging. When I swagged them, it just kind of looked messy. This will look better soon. I'm going to add these metallic beads to the tree next because I think it will make a nice complement with the red wooden berries. And here we are. Again, I know this is underwhelming, but we're just gradually building a foundation of color and texture. So these pretty velvet ribbons are going to go on next. Trying to place these just so I don't overdo it. I don't want to have too few and I don't want to have too many. It's kind of a work in progress.
I think these white lace bows will look really pretty next. I used these bows last year and I really enjoyed them, so it's fun to use them for a second year. And I think the tree is starting to come together. I just had an idea. I think I'm going to add some of these berries and pine cones to the tree. In the past, I've used these on the kitchen Christmas tree, but because I have that berry garland going on, I'm not going to do that. I think they might look nice here. I think the berries and pine cones really work. I like the added texture they provide. I really think this tree is looking nice. I've added this Lenox Cardinal ornament. That's the first ornament on the tree so far. And I think now we're ready to add some more, like this little dog that reminds me of Licorice and this adorable caboose. I think we're going to keep the color tones pretty consistent on this tree. I think that's going to look really pretty. But of course, we shall see. I think my next step is going to be to put these cookie cutters on my kitchen Christmas tree. I usually like to dry fruit and put that on the tree, and I might still do that, time permitting. But I think at least if I get this started, I'll get a sense of even how much fruit I need if I decide to do that. It's just a little bit time consuming. But that doesn't mean I'm ruling it out. We'll see how this shakes out. Here's our first cookie cutter. I think it looks really nice. And now I'm going to continue adding them. This tree is really narrow, so I have to think about my placement pretty carefully. I think this tree is almost done, and I think I'm going to skip the dried fruit that I often do on this tree because I think it looks really nice just as it is. We just cleared a spot so we can put a third Christmas tree right here because I think it will give us a chance to use more of our ornaments and it will give us another little cheerful look in the house. The cats are fascinated that we moved the bench. So here's part of the tree. This is an old guy, so we're hoping all the parts are here. I think Eric got this from an estate clean out at some point in time, but I think it'll work just fine. I'll keep you posted. Spoiler alert, we took some time putting this tree together and then realized that we forgot the little metal cuff that goes around the green legs. So we had to take everything down and start all over again. That was lots of fun, but definitely worth it to make sure this tree is super secure. We've made a mess on the floor, but the tree is coming along nicely. This is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Probably would work better in the library. But I like the topper. And here it is with the lights. Like the tree in the library, this one doesn't come pre-lit, so we ordered lots of lights. We put them on ourselves. Now I'm going to use some of this plaid ribbon and figure out exactly how I'm going to wrap this around the tree. This is something that I always did for years and years. I stopped doing it for a little bit and I kind of missed it. So this will be a nod back to the old days, and I am here for it. It will be easier with two hands. Ornament time! This tree is really coming along.
right now I'm using this tree skirt for the dining room tree, but I don't love it. I had picked this up on my thrifting adventures at some point, but I found such a pretty one online that was 60% off. I'm gonna show it to you.
I really liked this tree skirt when I saw it. I liked the nice soft colors. I thought it would be versatile in lots of different rooms in my house if I want to move trees around. So I can't wait for it to arrive in the mail. I will definitely show it to you when it comes in.
I want to highlight one particular ornament. This is from my friend Laura, who is a viewer of this channel. Laura is so crafty. She took this salt cellar. It was a singleton. It didn't have its pepper. And instead of just deciding it had no value, she saw it as an opportunity to make a one-of-a-kind Christmas ornament. And I love this. I thought it was a fabulous idea, and this is Johnson Brothers on top of it. So if this ornament isn't perfect for me, I don't know what is. And this also inspired me because I thought the black and white gingham pattern on the bow would be beautiful on my Christmas ornaments in the kitchen. So I'm gradually gonna switch them over from the little twine holders that are on there now to black and white gingham ones. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean. Here's the Christmas tree, so in the kitchen. So I've used this colored sort of twine, which I think is pretty, but my plan is to gradually replace the twine with this black and white ribbon because I think it's even prettier. And then it goes with some of the black and white accents in the kitchen. So it's always fun to get your inspiration from unexpected places. Thanks, Laura, for that little tip.
I'm securing this garland to the staircase in the front entryway. I used to use floral wire, but now that everything is painted, I don't want to scratch it. So instead I'm using some twine that will be soft enough that I don't damage the paint. I definitely don't want to add to the number of projects that we have around here. So I think this is a good way to go, and I think it will keep everything pretty secure. I like the way it came out, and I think it adds some greenery and texture and interest to an unexpected space. We don't use these stairs very much at all, but it still makes for a pretty look. There's the twine. It worked out just fine. I'll arrange the leaves so you don't see it too well. And there are the crazy cats. They are chasing loose berries around the house. I want to spruce up this vintage sled a little bit, and I'm going to put this vintage horn around it, and then I'm going to add a bow, and I think that will look really pretty. I'm using a lot of floral wire today, that's for sure.
I think that's a pretty touch. Just a little small something. I'm gonna move it away from this mirror. There we go. I think that looks really pretty, especially with the weird cat hiding behind it. And I like the way this wreath looks, but I'd like it to be a little higher. So I need to see if I can find my wreath holders. I know I have different sizes, and sometimes it's the small changes that make the big impact. Last year, I used a lot of velvet ribbon for just some added little festive touches. It had a very Victorian feeling to me, which I really liked. So I'm gonna continue with that tradition this year, adding these little touches. And I think I'm gonna start by putting them on the sconces in the library. Again, it's a small thing, but has a very kind of cheerful effect. So let's do that now.
I apologize for the terrible lighting. I didn't realize that the sun was creating this weird glare effect, but I wanted to show this to you anyway so you can just see how simply I'm just tying this bow around. I'm trying to arrange it so that you see as much of the velvet front as you possibly can. I think two-sided ribbon would be a lot easier to work with in the future, but this is what I have, and so this is what I'm using. I think it works.
I filled these silver urns, these little champagne buckets, with faux Christmas trees. This one's looking a little squishy. I think I could probably find some kind of more expensive looking green to put in here. These were really quick little Goodwill finds, but they work for now. I'm gonna add this pretty little runner that my grandmother made, just to protect the surface of this vintage humidor that we love. I'm gonna add a silver tray. Let's see. I loved this little photograph holder since I received it as a gift in the early 90s. And I use it all year round for all kinds of things. And what I'm gonna do right now is just put some Christmas cards, some vintage Christmas postcards in here, because that's how I most like to use this, as a display for the holidays. And I have lots of cards to choose from, fortunately, so I can mix it up, and I even have different ones for New Year's. I think we're finally ready for a house tour. I'm going to start off by talking you through the rooms, but if you prefer to do your house tour to instrumental music, I'll have an instrumental segment that follows. So you can decide how you best like to watch this kind of video. I know everybody has their own preferences. Also, be sure to be on the lookout on Wednesday. I'm going to have a bonus video for you on that day. I hope you enjoy it. Here's Miss Iris, ready to give us the Christmas tour. So let's take a look around this kitchen that is decorated, but not too much. I have this beautiful woodland ornament that was my mother's, hanging from the chandelier. This is so pretty. And a little red ribbon on the chandelier. I have a nice garland over the mantle, and this will be lit up. I haven't done that yet. And this is a little gift from my friend Natalie. She gave me this garland of reindeer. I think it looks really sweet and old-fashioned here on the fireplace. So that's where I have it. And then we have just a few touches. I have these little Russian nesting dolls of Santas. I bought this in Boston many years ago while I was on a conference. And over here we have this little handmade Christmas tree. My grandmother made this. We have a couple little nods. You've got to have Elf on a Shelf. My son loved this when he was a kid. We have a couple little wooden bell Santas. They have a nice primitive look that fit right in. Here's another one by the coffee maker. And over on the other side, we have a few more little Santas. He's a handsome guy. A music box in the shape of a Christmas tree, and some more Santas. So you turn around. I don't want to go too fast. You will see this beautiful wreath. Don't mind the state of our door. Eric has been working in the dirt. This beautiful wreath was made by my grandmother. These are all cross-stitched. She put all of this together. It's a really beautiful wreath. And then we have the Christmas tree, the kitchen Christmas tree, which I really love. And I have it decorated with all kinds of kitchen themed items, like cookie cutters. I love cookie cutters with a little wood painted handle, and some plainer cookie cutters. This little milk can, little mixing bowl over here, little picnic basket, all kinds of fun little things. I get such a kick out of this tree, and if you have a small space and you don't think you have room for Christmas decorations, you might want to consider a pencil tree like this. They're easy to store, they're easy to assemble, and they give you just that quick little hit of Christmas cheer. So that's fun. Over here on the hutch, we have this beautiful handmade Christmas stocking that my grandmother made my mother in 1988. It is a cherished, cherished heirloom. I have some more garland on top of the hutch. And inside you will see a Port Marion snowman. He is so cute. Heading to the bathroom, we have an old Waterford kissing ball. This was my mother's. It's so pretty. And we have just a little arrangement here on top of the toilet. Just a little something. Not a lot, but it gets the job done. Now let's go back through and I'll show you the dining room. Oh, and I almost forgot to show you. I have this little cute Santa framed wall art. It looks handmade, but it's not. I bought this at TJ Maxx many years ago. I think it's so sweet. And then I have an advent calendar right here, ready to go. This was always one of the highlights of Zach's holiday season, was putting the little ornaments on this tree as we counted down to Christmas. Now we're in the dining room and we have this fun tree. So this tree is really old and it was a little goofy to put together, but Eric Goodman got it done. And we have all of our fun family ornaments on here. So things that were handmade, things we picked up on our travels, ornaments that were made when Zach was little and has his face on them, all the funny different kinds of things. There is no rhyme or reason to the decorations of this tree. It's strictly meant to be fun. And I think it gets the job done. I would next year put this tree in the library and put a more formal tree in the dining room. But for now, this is making me all kinds of happy. Behind it, we have Rudolph the Reindeer sign, a beautiful little Advent candle wreath. I need to get the correct candles for that. And we have another cross stitch that my grandmother made. Here is a Waterford wreath that actually matches the kissing ball that I showed you in the bathroom. So that's hanging here on the corner cabinet. And this beautiful piece that I've shown before, I show it every year. My grandmother made this in 1990. I absolutely treasure it. And then up here, I thrifted this pretty little piece, the yellow house, and it reminds me of our own yellow house, so I get a kick out of this. And then coming over this way, you'll see the table. So we have just a crocheted tablecloth in just a simple cream color and a red velvet runner. I've got the candlesticks out, just a little bowl around the fruit compote. I didn't feel like we needed a lot of fanciness on the table because there's already a lot to take in. And sometimes Christmas decorating can start to feel overwhelming, and that's when you know it's time to pare back. Turning over this way, we have a beautiful Waterford bowl. This is a nice ruby glass color. I love this Lennox bird. This was given to me by a viewer of this channel last year. I treasured it then and I treasure it now. There's enough museum putty underneath this sucker that the whole tabletop might come off when I try to remove this bird, but I'm not playing. This guy is not getting killed by cats. I've got some cranberry colored candlesticks. And then we come over here where I had lots of fun in the bookshelves. So I have this fabulous manger scene I love this. There's so much to take in, so much detail. We got this from an estate clean out. This was destined for the garbage, but we didn't throw it in the garbage. Obviously, we saved it and I will treasure it forever. Moving up, you've seen these cute little quail before. I'm keeping them out. This Lennox dish was a gift to me from my sister-in-law, and I love it. And I have a Johnson Brothers plate with a great winter scene behind it. And then this is a beautiful carved box filled with frankincense and myrrh that I thrifted last year. Again, something I absolutely treasure. And then up here we have some Johnson Brothers Friendly Village. I love having a place where I can show off some china. I used to have a hutch in my kitchen that I had to get rid of because it was too tempting for cats. But these shelves are a little bit more out of the way, keeping my treasures safer than they were. Down here we have another Johnson Brothers Friendly Village plate and what looks like a mercury glass Christmas tree. It's not real mercury glass, but it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? I love to pick these up when I find them. Another great tip for your own home decor, if you don't have a lot of space, these pack a big punch, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the Limoges cabinet. It's the same as always inside, but on the outside, I have this beautiful winter scene painting. You're gonna see this in an estate sale haul video that will be coming out sometime soon. And these beautiful Pottery Barn candles that I thrifted, gosh, last fall maybe? No, it must have been in the spring because I didn't use them last year. I love them. And then this pretty little wreath tied to the mirror above just gives a nice little holiday effect. Across the way on the humidor, we have this pretty runner that my grandmother made. I have some bottle brush trees, this nice big Johnson Brothers platter that I picked up last year and I love. And then my champagne buckets with some greenery I thrifted from Goodwill that will probably be changed out at some point. I don't think they're super expensive looking, but I think I paid like $1.99 for them. So I'm not sure I can complain about that, right? Here is what I would describe as my all-time favorite Christmas tree I have ever put together. I love the way this came out. It's got the star from my childhood tree on top, which is maybe a little kitschy for the look I'm going for. But I love the red velvet ribbons. I used them last year. I kept the color palette pretty subdued to like creams and metallics and reds. And I find the effect very, very restful. There are so many pretty Lennox ornaments on this tree that I have thrifted throughout the year. If you ever find these on your journeys, grab them. They are so pretty and impactful. This one's Waterford. So I have quite a few this year. I think this one is Lennox. This one was a gift from my mother to my son when he was going through a train era. And this pretty glass ornament was from my grandmother. So lots of sentiment happening here. I really like the effect of tucking berries and pine cones in this tree. I think that really worked. And this tree skirt is something else that I absolutely love. My mother's best friend, Ray, gave this to me. She was using it in her own home and then decided to trade out for something else. She thought I might like it. And as I said, I absolutely cherish this. Over here on the switchboard, I have this cute Fitz and Floyd car. This is actually, it winds up and plays music. My mother always had this in our family room. This was something else that Zach loved as a child. So I have very strong memories of this beautiful little piece. And then moving back around, I will show you this little centerpiece. I would love to paint this out in some different way, maybe with some kind of rub and buff treatment. I think the brushed tin doesn't really work in here, but I love the insides. I love like the actual greenery here. So maybe a project for another day. I bought this runner at an antique show. Oh my gosh, probably in the 1990s. I've used it every year since then. Over here, I have a little Christmas pillow. Again, something I've had for a long time. We have an incredibly naughty cat right here thinking about what she can chase and break. And some velvet ribbons here on the candle sconces. Yeah, you heard it too. Over on the shelves, I have this pretty Lenox vase. Should really find something to go in that vase. That was my mother's. On the slipper chair, I have this plaid blanket that I thrifted a while back. I love it. I finally kept one after selling many. So glad I did. I have some more garland. This will be threaded with fairy lights sometime soon. I just needed Eric to pick up some batteries for me. And then we have a Charlie Brown Christmas, because if you can't have a sense of humor about things, what can you have? Boris the bear is sporting a very beautiful red ribbon. I'm not supposed to decorate Boris the bear. This is an agreement I have with Eric, but sometimes Boris just needs a little something something, and this was that year. And then finally over here on our vintage safe, I have these old Christmas postcards in a vintage photograph holder. I love the way this looks, and it's really fun to change these cards out with the seasons. Now we're in the front entryway that is still under renovation, but I'm going to show you what we have because I'm just making things work. I have a little garland going up the stairs for a little bit of color and interest. I think this is really pretty. This was a little something I started last year. I really enjoyed it, so it's here again this year. And then I have a vintage sled with a bow and a bugle here right by the door. This wreath that I thrifted for, gosh, under $5 at a church tag sale over a year ago. I love this thing. I think it was a church tag sale in Plainville. I think I paid $3 for it. It's holding up really well. It's got a nice classic look. And then we have these vintage ski shoes over here in the corner. So if it starts to snow, we can decide, do we want to walk in the snow with our snowshoes, or do we want to take a ride in our sled? It's nice to have choices. Now we're walking back through the dining room. I am not going to show you the front parlor because that's where I'm storing all of my Christmas boxes, so it does not look beautiful. I'm going to show you the one decoration in this room, and it's the only one because it's the only one I can keep safe from cats, and it's this macrame Christmas tree that my mother made. My mother, who was not a crafter, made this one piece when I was a child in the 70s. I always loved it, and it made its way to me eventually. It's covered in ornaments that are mostly Lenox, some Waterford, and then a few others that are just sentimental, like this little church that looks very much like the church we went to when I was a child. I think that might be the only one that's not. Anyway, it's really pretty, and hanging up here in the door frame, it's safe from naughty cats. I have one more room to show you, and that's the master bedroom. I don't decorate the whole house, just sort of the key rooms, because as much fun as it is to decorate, we must remember that eventually these decorations need to come down, which is much less fun. Am I right? Iris is going to lead the way, apparently. So here we are. I have this very festive quilt on the bed. I think this looks nice for the holidays. It's not super literal, but I think it gives a nice nod to the season. I've replaced Licorice's regular blue bed with this little white blanket just to make it go with the color scheme. We have a little bit of garland on the staircase banner. We have this pretty arrangement on the mirror, just again for a little festive cheer. Over here on the blanket chest, we have another garland, a bow, and holiday pillow over on the chair. And then I'm really enjoying this little ceramic Christmas tree all lit up here on the dresser. This is so much fun. We have 3 of these. One of them is in the barn. So this one is up here because the cats can't get to it. And we have an even bigger one over here, which I don't dare put the lights on because I think the cats will actually chew and possibly swallow them. Our cats are that crazy. So I'm just gonna leave this one plain. I know that's not how it's meant to be, but it still gives me a Christmassy feeling even without the lights. We don't need any veterinary emergencies for Christmas. So that's the room. I think it works. We don't do a lot with the other rooms. I'll show you real quick what we've got here, if Licorice doesn't mind us walking on by. This bedroom needs a big makeover. Here we are in the very messy, cluttered study. Project for another day. The only decoration I have here is this beautiful needlepoint pillow. I picked this up in Vermont one year. I think it's really, really nice. And then as we walk through this door, we're in the stairwell. We won't even look at the laundry room. You can get some sense of the horror right through the door. Here is a guest bathroom. And then, yep, this is our second floor stairwell. Zach's messy room is to the right. Our guest bedroom that is housing a lot of our non-seasonal stuff is to the left. And then we go up here to the 3rd floor, which is all used for storage right now. So that's the house tour. I've never done a house tour before, and I apologize for the rooms you didn't see. They are not in any shape to be seen. Hello, to be seen right now. I will show you them another day when they're looking their best. you enjoyed decorating for Christmas with me. There's still much to do and I can't wait to get to it, but that's for another day. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit like if you liked it, share it with a friend. Have a fabulous day, and I hope to see you next time. Until then.